Episode 4, Worlds Collide. Keira's choice emerges. Prove it, Vane said, her voice hard. The cloaked figure on the left stepped forward, pulling back their hood. It was a young woman, no older than 20, with fiery red hair and determined eyes. We know about the anomalies. We know about the memory wipes. And we know Mayor Thompson controls it all with the core. The core? I asked. The machine from my dream, I said, remembering the night before. It's real, the woman confirmed. And it's located beneath City Hall. Heavily guarded, of course. Why come to us? Vane asked. Why not destroy it yourselves? The woman sighed. We've tried. Many times. But the security is too tight. Mayor Thompson's enforcers are everywhere. We need someone with unique abilities. She looked pointedly at me. And you think we're those someones? I asked. We know you are, the other cloaked figure spoke, pulling back his hood. He was older, with a grizzled beard and a weary expression. We've been watching you since you arrived. We saw you fighting those things in the park. Things? I asked. The glitches, he explained. Manifestations of the core's instability. They're becoming more frequent, more dangerous. So what's the plan? Vane asked, cutting to the chase. We get you inside City Hall, the red-haired woman said. We have a contact who can disable the security grid for a short time. It will give you a window to reach the core. And then what? I asked. We just walk in and smash it. It's not that simple, the grizzled man said. The core is protected by a force field. You'll need to disable that first. How? Vane asked. Our contact has a device that can disrupt the force field, the red-haired woman said. But it's a one-time use. You'll only get one shot, and if we fail, I asked. Then the city is doomed, the grizzled man said grimly. Great, I muttered. No pressure. We do this tonight, Vane said, her voice decisive. The longer we wait, the stronger the core becomes. She looked at me. You ready, Keira? As I'll ever be, I replied, trying to sound more confident than I felt. Meet us at the old clock tower at midnight, the red-haired woman said. We'll take you to our contact. They pulled their hoods back up and slipped out of the room, disappearing into the shadows. Vane turned to me. Clock tower midnight. Let's get ready. We spent the rest of the day preparing. Vane sharpened her sword and checked her gear. I tried to focus my energy, practicing my control. But my mind kept racing, filled with doubts and fears. What if we can't do it? I asked Vane, pacing the room. What if we fail? We won't, she said, her voice firm. We can't afford to. This city is counting on us, but what if Mayor Thompson is too powerful? I asked. What if the core is too well protected? Vane stopped what she was doing and looked at me. Keira, listen to me. You have the power to do this. You have the spark. You just need to believe in yourself. But I'm not a fighter, I protested. I'm a graphic designer. What do I know about saving cities? You're more than just a graphic designer, Vane said. You're a nexus point. You're the key to saving the multiverse. And you're stronger than you think. I looked at her, her words giving me a glimmer of hope. You really think so? I know so, she said. Now, stop doubting yourself and let's get going. Midnight's almost here. We left the hotel and made our way to the old clock tower. The city was quiet, the streets deserted. The only sound was the hum of the energy grid, a constant reminder of Mayor Thompson's control. We reached the clock tower and waited in the shadows. Soon, the red-haired woman and the grizzled man appeared, leading us through a maze of back alleys. Our contact is waiting in the abandoned subway station, the red-haired woman said. It's the closest we can get to City Hall without raising suspicion. We descended into the subway station, the air growing colder and damper. The station was dark and decaying, filled with graffiti and broken equipment. In the center of the station, a figure was waiting. He was hunched over a workbench, tinkering with a device. He looked up as we approached. You must be the Nexus and her protector, he said, his voice raspy. I'm Marcus. I used to work for Keira Industries before all this. He gestured around at the dilapidated station. You're the one who can disable the security grid, Vane asked. And disrupt the force field, Marcus said, holding up the device he was working on. This baby is a one-shot wonder. Use it wisely. How does it work? I asked. Marcus explained the device, a small, metallic box with a complex array of buttons and switches. It emits a concentrated pulse of energy that disrupts the force field's frequency. But it only lasts for a few seconds. You'll need to be quick. Got it, I said. What about getting inside City Hall? That's where my connections come in, Marcus said. I've rigged a maintenance tunnel that leads directly to the core chamber. It's not pretty, but it's the fastest way in. Let's go, Vane said, her voice impatient. Marcus led us through the maintenance tunnel, a cramped, claustrophobic space filled with pipes and wires. The air was thick with the smell of dust and decay. We're almost there, Marcus said, stopping in front of a metal door. This is it. The entrance to the core chamber. He handed me the device. Good luck, he said. You're going to need it. Vane kicked the door open, and we stepped into the core chamber. The chamber was vast and imposing, filled with humming machinery and flashing lights. In the center of the room, a giant sphere of energy pulsed with power. That was the core. Surrounding the core were dozens of enforcers, clad in black armor and armed with energy weapons. They turned towards us, their faces masked, their weapons raised. Intruders, one of them shouted. Eliminate them. The enforcers opened fire, energy blasts streaking towards us. Vane deflected the blasts with her sword, while I ducked behind a console for cover. Use the device, Vane yelled. Now, I took a deep breath and activated the device. A pulse of energy shot out, hitting the force field surrounding the core. The force field flickered, then disappeared. It's down, I shouted. Let's go. Vane charged forward, cutting down enforcers with her sword. I followed her, focusing my energy, unleashing blasts of power that sent enforcers flying. We fought our way through the chamber, towards the core. But the enforcers were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. Suddenly, the doors to the chamber opened, and Mayor Thompson entered, flanked by two hulking figures. They were taller and more muscular than the other enforcers, their armor gleaming with power. So you've made it this far, Mayor Thompson said, her voice cold and mocking. I must admit I'm impressed. But this is where your journey ends. It ends with you, Thompson, Vane said, her sword raised. You can't stop me, Mayor Thompson said. I control the city. I control reality itself. That's what you think, I said, stepping forward. But you're wrong. You're not in control. You're just a puppet, Mayor Thompson laughed. A puppet? I am the master of this world. No, I said. You're just afraid. Afraid of losing control. Afraid of what would happen if people were free. Mayor Thompson's face twisted with rage. Silence. You will not undermine my authority. She gestured to the two hulking figures beside her. Destroy them. The figures charged towards us, their fists raised. Vane engaged one, their swords clashing with deafening force. The other turned to me. He was massive, his eyes glowing with a menacing red light. He lunged, his hand outstretched. I dodged his attack, feeling the wind of his fist as it passed my face. He was fast, too fast. I focused my energy, unleashing a blast of power that struck him in the chest. He staggered back, but quickly recovered. He charged again, swiping at me with his massive hand. I ducked under his arm and unleashed another blast of energy, hitting him in the face. He roared in pain, but kept coming. I was running out of energy, running out of time. Suddenly, I heard a voice in my head. Keira, it said. You must embrace your true potential. It was the voice from my dream, the voice of the forgotten. What do you mean? I asked, my mind racing. You have the power to do more than just manipulate energy, the voice said. You can manipulate reality itself, but I don't know how, I protested. Think of what you want to happen, the voice said. Believe in it. And it will be so. I closed my eyes, focusing my mind. I thought of the city, of the people suffering under Mayor Thompson's control. I thought of freedom, of hope, of a better future. I opened my eyes, and I felt a surge of power, stronger than anything I had ever felt before. The world around me seemed to shimmer, to distort. I looked at the hulking figure, charging towards me. I focused my mind, willing him to stop. And he did. He froze in midair, his eyes wide with confusion. I raised my hand, willing him to disappear. And he did. He vanished without a trace, leaving only empty space. Mayor Thompson gasped, her face pale with shock. What did you do? I showed you what true power looks like, I said, my voice filled with newfound confidence. I turned to Vane, who was still battling the other hulking figure. Vane, stand back, I yelled. She hesitated, then leaped away, giving me a clear shot. I focused my mind on the figure, willing him to disappear. And he did. He vanished, just like the other one. Mayor Thompson was trembling, her eyes filled with fear. You're a monster, she whispered. No, I said. I'm a liberator. I turned my attention to the core, the giant sphere of energy pulsing in the center of the room. I knew that if I destroyed it, I could free the city from Mayor Thompson's control. But I also knew that destroying it could have unforeseen consequences. It could destabilize reality, creating new anomalies, new dangers. I hesitated, torn between my desire to save the city and my fear of the unknown. Keira, what are you waiting for? Vane yelled. Destroy it. I looked at Vane, her face filled with urgency. I looked at Mayor Thompson, her face filled with fear. And I looked at the core, the source of all the city's problems. I knew what I had to do. I focused my mind on the core, willing it to destabilize, to collapse. The core began to flicker, its energy becoming erratic. The chamber started to shake, the machinery sparking and smoking. No, Mayor Thompson screamed. You can't do this. I ignored her, focusing all my energy on the core. The core reached critical mass, its energy building to a crescendo. Then it exploded, sending a wave of force that knocked me off my feet. Everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the floor of the core chamber. The chamber was in ruins, the machinery destroyed, the lights flickering. Vane was standing beside me, helping me to my feet. You did it, she said, her voice filled with relief. You destroyed the core. I looked around, seeing the devastation I had caused. What about Mayor Thompson? I asked. She's gone, Vane said. Vanished. Probably jumped to another reality. And the city? I asked. What's going to happen to it? I don't know, Vane said. But I have a feeling things are about to change. As she spoke, the chamber began to shimmer. The walls started to distort, the floor tilting beneath our feet. What's happening? I asked, my voice filled with alarm. It's the reality shifting, Vane said. The core's destruction has destabilized everything. The chamber dissolved around us, and we found ourselves standing in a different place, a different world. This time, we were in a desolate wasteland, the sky a swirling vortex of colors. Where are we now? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I don't know, Vane said. But I have a feeling we're not alone. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of us, cloaked in shadows, its face obscured by a deep hood. Welcome, Keira, the figure said, its voice cold and menacing. I have been waiting for you. The figure stepped forward, revealing its face. It was me. But not me. This version of myself was different, twisted, corrupted. Who are you? I asked, my voice trembling. I am you, she said. But I am also so much more. She raised her hand, and the sky above us began to crack. Tears in reality opened, revealing glimpses of other worlds, other possibilities. I am the future, Keira, she said. And you are about to become a part of it. She lunged towards me, her eyes burning with a malevolent light. Vane stepped in front of me, her sword raised. You'll have to go through me first. The two Keiras clashed, their weapons meeting with a deafening clang. I stood there, frozen in place, watching the battle unfold. I knew that the fate of the multiverse hung in the balance. And I knew that I had a choice to make. I could run, I could hide, I could try to escape this madness. Or I could embrace my destiny, accept my power, and fight for the future of all realities. The twisted Keira knocked Vane to the ground, her sword flying from her grasp. It's over, the twisted Keira said, raising her sword to strike the final blow. But then I stepped forward. No, I said, my voice filled with determination. It's not over. It's just beginning. I channeled all my energy, unleashing a wave of power that struck the twisted Keira, sending her flying backwards. She landed on the ground, stunned. I stepped towards her, my eyes burning with a fierce light. "I am Keira," I said. "And I will not be controlled." I raised my hand, ready to strike. But then I hesitated. Could I really kill another version of myself? As I hesitated, the twisted Keira smiled. "You can't do it, can you?" she said. "You're too weak." Just then, the ground began to shake. The tears in reality widened, growing larger and more unstable. "What's happening?" I asked, my voice filled with alarm. "The worlds are colliding," the twisted Keira said, her voice filled with glee. "And it's all your fault." Suddenly, figures began to emerge from the tears in reality. Soldiers, monsters, aliens, beings from every imaginable world. They swarmed towards us, their weapons raised, their faces filled with hatred. "We have to get out of here," Vane yelled, grabbing her sword. We turned and ran, fleeing from the chaos that was engulfing the wasteland. As we ran, I looked back at the twisted Keira, standing amidst the chaos, her face filled with triumph. I knew that this was just the beginning. The worlds were colliding, and I was the only one who could stop it. But how could I stop a war that spanned across countless realities? How could I save a multiverse that was tearing itself apart? And more importantly, could I make the choices necessary to win, even if those choices meant sacrificing everything I held dear? To be continued.